All right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you my Friday Reads. In my Friday Reads, I shared the books I finished, the books I started, and anything interesting about books that I'm carrying over week to week. And I think I have finished things, I have started things, I am carrying things. Yes, it is the end of the month push, and it is the last week for the summer fling. Well, this is like my fourth summer flings Friday reads, but there's still a couple more days in the month because when's the first? The first is the second. Oh, so this is the latest that Labor Day can be because the first is not Monday. Anyway, so yeah, I have finished a couple of things. Let's do Summer Fling first and then get into other stuff. So the title I was reading for Summer Fling was Deceptions by Janice Kaiser. This is a Harlequin Temptation from 1993. And it took me, I think, all week to read it, which is fine. I actually quite enjoyed it. I talked about it in my last Friday reads. It follows a woman who is a PI, and she used to be FBI, and she is helping a family friend with a sensitive situation, and he's someone that she had a crush on when she was younger, but he was involved with her sister, and that didn't turn out, so now something is starting to also kindle between them because it is romance. So I know that might go into some territory that people aren't comfortable with, but I felt like it dealt with it okay, although it retreaded, like it brought that was like, instead of, usually there's like an external conflict. No, usually there's a conflict between the couple. I find if there's like one conflict that keeps on coming up again and again, it's something that they disagree on. In this situation, I felt like a lot of it was her holding this and thinking about this, and she did bring it up a lot, and they really retread that ground a fair amount. But regardless of that, I actually quite enjoyed this one. I really love that she was the expert and her expertise was taken seriously, and she was the one who was talking to the cops. She was the one who was investigating. And this is actually interesting because this romance primarily follows her, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, for folks that have been reading for romance for a long time or have been reading romances from the 90s and earlier, I think that like the whole alternating perspectives thing is more of a new thing. This feels to me more like the romances I used to read when I was younger, where you're mostly following one character, like a female character, and he actually is not even in the book all that much. Like, it's always with her. It's never, I think it is third, no, I made it too. Okay, so it is first person. I felt like there were a couple moments where we did see from his perspective a little bit, but not first person. So I'm actually surprised this was first person. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I am going to see if I can find more temptations or more from this time period, like just more romances from the 90s. I have a feeling that I will like them. And that actually ties in oddly. Oh my gosh, this might have been written the same year. Let me check my other romance that I started. It's not really a cheat. Like, it really, no, this one was written in 92. Oh my goodness gracious. I also started The Bridges of Madison County by Robert James Waller. This was such a huge book at the time. Like, I worked at bookstores at the time, so it was just flying off the shelves. Like, it was, when I started, it was the book that everyone wanted, this and the Oprah cookbook. But yeah, so I've never read this. It's 170 pages. It's very short. It was made into a film with Clint Eastwood and Meryl Streep, which I have seen, so I know the story, but I never read the book. Anyway, I picked this up semi-recently, like this year or late last year, and for my reading novels project, but it really is a romance. It's really about a relationship, and I only just started it last night, so I'm only like 16 pages in. I forgot to move my marker for what page I'm on. So far so good. The characters, I don't know. He's not super likable yet. Not that he has to be likable. It follows a male protagonist, male author, so that's pretty unusual in the romance genre. It is a character that I think he said he's in his 50s. or at least 40, so older protagonist as well. And yeah, so I'm hoping I can finish it by the end of the month. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I decided to go with this one, is that it is a shorter title. So I'm curious to see if I enjoy it. I was going to say how it turns out, but I remember it from the film, so I imagine it is pretty close. Yeah, so that is, we went like 1 year apart, but completely different tones. And I am curious about more Temptations. I looked on Fiction Database to find them, but it's a lot of work to cross-reference stuff, and I don't know if any of them made it to ebook, or if it would be more likely to find an author and then go that way. So I'm not quite sure. That might be find a show that I'm interested in rewatching and do some research. But it was too much for whenever I started. So those are the two romances, one finish, one start. And as of now, I have finished 6 titles for a total of 735 pages. I have been reading lots of shorter works. Actually, Deceptions was my longest title at 216 pages. But my goal with the Summer Fling has been to read romance daily, and it is almost a whole page full of hearts, just a few hearts to go, and I am really, really happy with how things have gone. I've really gotten back in the habit of reading romance, and so I'm really thrilled with the Summer Fling so far, and it's been so fun to participate in the scavenger hunt. My goodness gracious, I love seeing what people come up with, and so yeah, it's kind of sad that it's coming to an end, but I think it's good. I think this is probably I don't always have the month-long readathons sometimes are challenging to sort of stay with the energy of it, but I actually feel like the energy of this readathon really has been very present throughout the entire time, and I've been excited to share what I've been reading and also see what other people have been reading and seeing people's updates. So I think it's gone really well, and I'm really happy to have participated, but it is not over yet. There are still a few more days. So what else have I been reading? I did finish this one I've talked about many times, the illustrated guide to Viking martial arts by Antony Cummins. This is, what it says. It really is translating the sagas to martial arts, and then it demonstrates them with illustrations. And so I just had a few sections left: unarmed combat, horse combat, combined combat, so shield wall, and stuff like that, disarming opponents, and so totally different from other stuff. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I read it for the history challenge. I haven't been as good at the history challenge. I was late to join on that. I didn't know about it until later in the month, but I still have a couple of days left, and I have 2 titles that I would like to finish, which is the case for all of the books I'm currently reading. But one I have 45 pages left, and one I have 160 pages left. But I have a feeling that history stuff is not a good thing to rush, so I might decide to go a slower pace and really sort of absorb it. I haven't had a chance to work on my accordion book, even though I made it, so I'm getting a little tripped up on that. I want to put the information from the different time periods into the book, and I haven't done that yet, so I haven't been reading more yet, which isn't good. I can always go back and read it. The books I'm reading are all unscribed, so they're not going to expire from the library or anything like that. I can just go about it and work on that. So I finished that. I also finished A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. The live show for this was earlier this week on Izzy's channel, Izzy Punk Rock Girl PA. I will leave a link to it up above if you would like to check it out. This is an urban fantasy YA, but contemporarily set. Well, I guess most urban fantasy is contemporary. I like some historical urban fantasy, and there is some of it kicking around, but that's not what this is. So it is YA urban fantasy. It is actually quite centered in reality, though, and it does have mention and occurrences that involve things like Black Lives Matter. So it's very timely, and there's 2 protagonists, and one of them is a siren, but sirens are feared, and so because they have a call that can like make people do what they say, kind of. And there's different things that it can do, but because of that power, the siren in the book doesn't let anyone know she's a siren, and like there's a network that helps shield her from that, but she can't use her power, so she's like disempowering herself for safety. So that is very clearly, I felt, allegory, and in terms of contemporary issues, and there were some really on point, like very contemporary things that happen with this. One of the challenges I had with this book, though, is because so she's a siren, and there's actually some sirens are collared, so they literally wear a collar to make it so they can't use their power. So that's upsetting stuff, right? Whether it's volunteer, some people do it voluntarily, and some people obviously don't. But the thing I found challenging with this one is that there are other I don't want to say what in the book, but there's like other urban fantasy elements and folklore that's woven into the story. But one of the things that I found challenging was it was hard to determine what was known and what was unknown. Like they talk about different things like sprites, but it's like, are they real or are they not real? But I felt as a reader, it was a little unclear. With the sprites, it was clear that they were unconfirmed, but generally sort of felt like maybe it's real. I felt like that was clear, but there were other things that it wasn't clear to me if it was something that was out in the open or not. So that made it a bit challenging. It felt a little inaccessible. Like I didn't understand the world, and it was so contemporary. Like there were so very current, like with like very, very recent type events that were layered or spoken of in this. So to have that, and then like the idea of sprites, I was a little like, okay. And then there was another group of people called the Eloki, I think Eloki, which is based on folklore, but they're like revered, and they have quite a similar thing to sirens, and the fact that it's like their voice, they can use their voice. And so I was confused as why the Eloki were revered and the sirens were feared, unless it was saying, why do some people with power or ability, why are some people revered and feared, and that it's unfair that some are, that there is that divide. If it was saying it is unfair that there's a divide there, that was clear. I just wasn't clear. I didn't understand why some people were and some people weren't. So that was challenging. But it was a great representation of sisterhood and support and being there for each other. It's a very much in that sense, a coming into one's own, coming of age type of story that I really appreciated seeing both of the stories in this one. And I thought the writing was good, but it did take me a long time to read it. First, like I was very surprised. It's under 300 pages, but it was like dedicated reading time. And I think I was trying so hard to understand the world, because I read a lot of urban fantasy, but I guess most of the urban fantasy I read is sort of a bit more distance. Like it doesn't really make as much social commentary. So I was not used to those things being together, and so I was really working at trying to like figure out like what it was saying in that and stuff. So, but I felt like I got there in the end, and it has a great afterword, or the acknowledgements are really good as well, and so that was great to read. So finished that one, and then that was mostly what I finished. I am now like in the middle of everything. I have so many books that I want to finish before the end of the month. Some that I think are unlikely, like The Outsider by Camus. I haven't read this for ages. I would love to finish the last three plays by Molière in this bind up. I'm actually in the middle of Tartuffe, and it's really funny. It's about a guy who befriends a man named Tartuffe, who nobody really likes, but he really likes, and he wants his daughter to marry him, but everyone's like, she's in love with someone else. Why are you trying to do this? So, and I don't always get comedy, but now that I know, I think that these are all comedies, it's sort of coming together a little bit, and it's a bit over the top, it can't be a bit over the top. It is over the top, I feel. So I'm hoping I'll finish Tartuffe by the end of the month, but I don't know if I'll finish the other two. I'm also continuing to read So You Want to Talk About Race, which is really good. And I'm also continuing to read There'll Be Peace When You Are Done, which is a collection of essays by people who are part of the Supernatural community, Supernatural, the TV show community, actors and fans celebrate the legacy of. We did finally get an announcement for the release date of the final episodes. They're going to start in October and run through to November. There are only 7 episodes left. I believe that they are filming now, and it is going to be the final season. I can't believe it's coming to an end. I also started a few things because why not, right? Just a few days before the end of the month. Let's start some. This is actually on my TBR, so I wanted to start it. And that is Slay by Brittney Morris. Is it Morris? Looks like Morris. Yeah, Brittney Morris, and this is about a girl who is a game designer, game developer, and she makes a game that is for Black gamers, and then I'm only like 1 chapter in, and then something goes wrong, and then I don't know, and then drama ensues. I am not sure. I've heard only good things about this. I am really looking forward to continuing on to reading it. I would love to finish it by the end of the month. I think that might be a little optimistic. It's only 300 pages, but yeah, so far so good on that one. And I've also started reading Cat Got Your Diamonds by Julie Chase. This is the first book in the Couture, that's hard to say, Couture mystery series. And this is the book club pick for Nicole from Who Picked This Book and Jen. And the live show is September 2nd. So it is technically on my September TBR, but I am reading it now so I can finish it by September 2nd. It's a cozy mystery, if you couldn't tell, and which is not a genre that I read from a lot. So I thought I would start before the month started, and they're going to be reading through the entire series and doing live shows on each Wednesday night at 9 p.m. EST or 6 p.m. PST. So, yeah, I'll leave links to Nicole's channel down below and the timer for that. I don't know if I can leave the timer for that. I'll try and leave for that particular live stream. And I'm looking forward to trying that out, to trying out a new genre. So I have to read, like, all of the things. And I'm trying to do a vlog this weekend for something else. So I'm like, when am I going to read anything? But hopefully the end of the month push will go well and I'll finish some stuff. I am, like, currently reading is getting up there. It's like 29. I'm not okay with that. And I don't even have a lot of obvious, only have 50 pages left of these 4 books. Nope. I am wading in all the books, and it's a new month, so there's going to be new books. So my September TBR will probably go up, I think, on Monday. It's a little late, but I was very indecisive on what to pick, and my other time to film it really didn't work out. So I usually try and have it earlier in the month, but it just didn't work out, and I'm still kind of like, I think I just feel like I'm in the middle of too many books to start new books, but I'm just picking them. I don't have to start them yet. I can finish stuff before anyway, so that's something to look forward to. And I also reviewed Foundation by Isaac Asimov. That went up on Wednesday, so if you're curious as to my thoughts on some classic science fiction, I will leave that down below. I'll put it as the end card because now we're coming to the end, and yeah, that was an interesting reading experience. So that is what I am reading. I hope that you have a good weekend and a good end of month push on your reading. If you do the end of month push, I know I am definitely doing that because I am just surrounded by books, which isn't a bad thing. It isn't a bad thing. There's lots to choose from and lots to enjoy. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video. Take care.